Then now we are going to understand. Already we understand some concept. These concepts we already understand it, regarding what is the some areas identified for the IoT enablers. That was RFID, nanotechnology, sensors, and smart networks. So later we are going to we already understand what is the basic definition of the Internet of Things. Here I given some basic definition. The Internet of Things is the network of physical objects that contains embedded technology to communicate and sense or interact with their internal states or the external environment. Internal states or the external environment. This is for Gartner research. So this definition taken from the Gartner research. Okay, so what is that? So I already tell that if any physical object that is embedded with an embedded technology for communicating, it is consisting of some sensor. So to sense the data or retrieve the data, to perform a particular action, it is consisting of some actuator. So what happens whenever a ordinary device is a physical device only, whenever it was consisting of a group of sensors and an actuators, then it will be an IoT device whenever it is connected to an internet or some internet. So because in real time everybody is using the internet is the major resource for storing the global data. So that's why the object, the whenever the object is connected to internet, then it was told as an Internet of Things. The thing is nothing but an object. Next we are going to understand the characteristics of an IoT devices or IoT. So when should we will go for the IoT devices? What is the major characteristics of IoT devices? So it is efficient, scalable and associated architecture. So what is that? We know that when should the efficiency will come, or when should. So whenever we are going to use any IoT devices in the real time in the 2000 era, so there are less number of IoT devices are there, nothing but it may be in billions, but it was less while compared to the present period. So efficiency will be how it was, efficiency will be calculatable. Efficiency will be calculatable how much accurate the data is coming from the IoT devices. And IoT devices always nowadays it is very much efficient and accurate for it because of different types of sensors they are using in the different parts or different objects. Okay. So scalable means we know that scalability means the data must be always retrievable. For example, we know that a server is a server. In a server or a cloud, the IoT data is always storing. So there are set of sensors, there are set of IoT devices which is used to sense the data. For example, 100 objects will be there at a time. It is used to sense the data and performs a certain action. But what happens at 100 objects, it's okay, but one not one object is trying to sense the data. So that particular data will not be available in the cloud, or it was non-scalable. So that must be, it must be scalability must be applicable. Scalability means the resource must be available. The resource may be a sensor, or the resource may be a server to retrieve the data. Efficient scalability and associated technology, associated architecture. Associated means, so the related architecture what we understand it in this particular point. Next is unambiguous namings and addressings. So there are in the previous earlier days there are so many devices, the naming and addressing. Nowadays we are using the IPv6 protocol. Using an IPv6 protocol, all the in a particular network, if I use an IPv6 protocol, then what happens, every particular node is going to be assigned with an IP address. So with that particular IP address only, we are telling that the data is coming from that particular object or a node. So in the earlier days, there are lots of unambiguous of namings, because of there are not no lots of DNS problem will be there, domain name systems problem, or we are not finding a proper IP addresses through a particular channels. So that's why there are lots of ambiguity, unambiguousness of will be there. So the characteristic whenever we follow for the IoT devices, it must be no ambiguity will be there for naming and addressing. So here in the second point, we are understanding unambiguous naming and addressing. That means every particular individual node is having a proper IP address and a proper configuration to identify that particular device. And ambulance of sleeping nodes, mobiles and non-IP devices. So we know the concept of mobility. Mobility means if a network, take a network, so if you are using a mobile phone, so your mobile phone, whenever it is connected with a proper connectivity technology, so that may be your mobile network like Airtel or any Geo or any particular technology, any particular connectivity technology you are using. So whenever it is moving from one place to another place, what happened? So the data, voice is the data. You are talking in the phone from one front in one place, and you are talking here, talking with other place, and you are still moving you in a bus. So bus is automatically moving from one place to another place. Automatically the antennas from one area, so that must be split to another area also. So mobility means there is no disturbing of that particular packet, voice packets. All we know that the voice data is transferred through network in the form of packets. For example, four packets are coming from one antenna. So your mobility is transferred. That means you change it from another one place to another place. There is an another antenna. So we are receiving from fourth packet to next different packets. So that means we have to consider that sleeping nodes, mobiles and non-IP devices. So in this particular concern, so there are lots of research is going on in this particular place also. So we must find the sleeping nodes and all the things. Intermittent connectivity. Intermittent connectivity is the another characteristics. So that means there are lots of networks. One network is using protocol for communicating of various devices. Another particular network is using IPv6 protocol for connecting all the other devices here. So there must be a, whenever transferring of this particular area to this particular area, that means in this particular area mobile want to contact with this particular device, then what happens? So there must have a proper and efficient way of communication with clear data. So in that part, so intermittent connectivity. So intermittent connectivity is the one of the characteristics we must focus in the IoT technology. Next, so what is the IoT markets here? So this is one of the question that was asked in the examinations so many times. Write a short notes on IoT markets here. So what is that? So how much of share that was distributed? So using a different resources, here I am providing a small slide to you. In this particular slide, so there is a in manufacturing and business industries, the IoT technology was used up to 40.2% of IoT devices. So that's why is the market share for the manufacturing in business areas, that was a 40.2 market share for Internet of Things. And in healthcare systems, that means in the medical area, so there are different types of devices the IoT devices are using. So that was 30.3. I already given I already shown different types of slides previously regarding where the IoT devices are used in manufacture, where the IoT devices are used in healthcare. I shown an example. The doctor is going to be monitor the patient health, and in the manufacturing also, manufacturing, there are different types of manufacturing industries are going to use different types of IoT devices for sensing the smoke, different things. And in the retail area, retail means for stock analysis, product analysis, these all things for market share 8.3% was using for the IoT market share. And in the security concern, there are so many security concern means the cameras always capturing the videos like this. It is consisting of audio capturing and video capturing continuously. For security purpose, there are so many IoT devices that was used. Okay, so let us discuss these all things regarding manufacturing area. These all things I already given a proper examples, proper slides I already shown. Please go through that. So let us discuss one by one. So in business or manufacturing system, real-time analysis of supply chains or equipments, robotic machinery. I already shown you one particular picture to you, that is one particular person who is monitoring all the robots. The robots are equipped with an IoT devices. The robots is manufacturing the motherboards. So like this, through a communication channel, through wireless communication channel, we can control that particular devices. You can automatically analysis how many products was manufactured, how many products was failed. These all things automatically manufactured in the manufacturing of the business industries through IoT devices. And in healthcare, I already given a very good example regarding portable health monitoring and electronic record keeping, and so many things, paramedical safeguards. So that means in healthcare, so a doctor is always monitors the patient's health condition. And through that means there are different types of apps are available in healthcare. For example, a particular person's BP and sugar levels and heart condition, kidney condition, everything will be measured and it will be stored in a particular app. You can see that your condition anywhere if you having a username and password in a healthcare system like this. Okay, and in the retail area, retail means tracking of a goods, tracking of the products. So I already given very good example. Whenever I show you that particular figure, so whenever a truck, the sensors was arranged to the wheels of the truck to find the speed of the truck, and these are all things. So when it was started, where the product is going to be a come, these all things. That means what is the distance and when the product will come to the location. These all things will be tracked and identified. Inventory tracking, everything is going to be done using an IoT devices. And in the security purpose, there is biometric and facial recognition locks, remote sensor. For example, I want to remotely unlock my room or my chamber. If I was a manager for a particular company, no other person will not go into that particular chamber. So if unfortunately I was not available, so there is no face recognition, there is no biometric sensor of me, still it was used to other person to monitor or remote controlling from other place using an IoT devices. So this is the one concern. So that is the thing. We are also going to discuss the evolution of connected devices in the next class.